Good morning, everyone. My name is Amber Potts. I am currently living in Garden City, Kansas. That is the southwest region of the state. Thank you for joining in and watching my introduction video for educational leadership. A little bit of background on the images you see on the screen here. Top one is a picture of my family, my husband and my two daughters. The bottom picture is an image of me at the top of Mount Snuffles, which is a 14,000 foot peak in western Colorado, where my husband and I are from. And then the last picture on the right is a picture of me suited up in the environmental toxicology gear. I worked as an environmental toxicologist for several years before switching professions, become a teacher. A little bit of information about my family. I have a younger brother, a younger sister. The photo beneath me here on the left. I have two daughters. They are fraternal twins, Allison and Adeline. So they're the two big images in the middle. A picture of my family with my dad and my mom down in the kind of center bottom there. My husband of 9 years down at the bottom right. He's all suited up on a backpacking trip we were on. And then above him is a picture of his whole family, with the exception of his dad and stepmom. But it was a rare moment. It was all his siblings and their children all together this summer at the family cabin. So just a fun picture there. Well, a little bit about my hobbies. When I have time, I like to bake and decorate cakes. So I included a few images of some of my creations. My husband and I, before we had the girls, really enjoyed traveling, backpacking, hiking, you name it. So I included a few pictures of different places we've been. Puerto Rico, Akumal, Mexico. The tent was a home for a few days up in the mountains of Colorado. The geological marker there was at the top of one of the 14,000 foot peaks we had hiked together. And then the bottom picture of the waterfall was at a campsite or nearby at one of our campsites. So I do enjoy doing photography as well. A little bit about my education. I have a bachelor's degree in microbiology from Colorado State University in Fort Collins, Colorado. When my husband was offered a teaching job out in Garden City, they also offered me a job through the Transition to Teach program. So I did complete the Transition to Teach through Fort Hays in 2016. And I decided at the time not to do the 4 additional classes for the master's degree. But this past summer decided it was time to knock those out and be done with that. So this is actually my last master's class to take before earning that master's degree. A little bit more about where I teach on the next slide, but I do teach at Horace Good Middle School in Garden City. This is my 6th year teaching. All 6 years I have taught 7th grade science. This year I took on a couple challenges, cooking class and yearbook advisor. So in some ways I kind of feel like a first year teacher, having to build those curriculum from the ground up. Some extra things I do in addition to teaching: I'm on the curriculum council. I'm on my building's leadership team. I am a member of the Avid Site team at my school. This year, science is up for textbook adoption, so I'm on that committee. I'm serving as a science Olympiad coach this year, and I'm a Nearpod certified instructor. Horace Good Middle School, a little bit about the school, is one of 2 middle schools in Garden City. We serve about 800 students at Horace Good, about 80% free and reduced, 72% Hispanic, 73% economically disadvantaged, and 70% ESL. I didn't include it on there, but we are a pretty big migrant family. I have a lot of migrant students come through. This year alone, I've already lost 4 students and gained 3, I believe. So a lot of students leaving mid-year and then students coming in mid-year. A little bit about the reading. So why do politics influence schools but not necessarily move school leaders to take action? Right now, our education system is so much governed through politics. We're subject to the demands of the state and federal governments, taxpayers, and the parents in the community that we serve. So school leaders are subject to navigate through all of that, kind of like I think like a balancing act almost. State governments, regulating curriculum, budgets, standards, where you've got the federal government regulating laws, tests, benchmarks, um, and school leaders they have to navigate through all of that and make it work for their building, doing what's best for the students and the teachers and the parents that they serve. Um, According to the article or the reading, politics historically was avoided because it was in a way of protecting professional career. Why did standards focus on outcomes and split the work of the skills of the profession from knowledge and wisdom of that profession? Standards are ever changing. This has become even more apparent right now for me personally as I work through the science textbook adoption. It's not simply just the textbook adoption, it is also adopting next gen science standards as we look at these textbooks, which um, is a complete overhaul of what we currently have as far as the standards we were following. So really, looking at those standards and following them with the fidelity really does mean completely changing what content is taught at what level. Um, Budgets are also connected to outcomes. So uh, policymakers set standards in place, but those standards affect budgeting. So that's also another big aspect. Standards focused outcomes, I think they have pros and cons. I've seen personally within the math department, for example, at my school, how people feel that having standards, like they feel like they're teaching to a test, or they're letting go of control and foregoing wisdom and skills that they feel students need to again kind of go back to teaching to that test. So there's a lot of emphasis placed on that and data and outcomes, to the point where some people feel like they're losing good teaching strategies. They can't stop and do, reteach something because they're on this timetable or whatnot. I do think some pros, though, they're informative. They provide structure. They provide a starting point, a reference point. Why the standards evolved to explicitly call for school leaders' direct action. I think to be a voice, to be the voice of students, teachers, and parents. Their school leaders are looked up to. They're the voice of the school, the voice of the district. So to be that voice. Why must school leaders become political activists on behalf of students and their families? Well, again, that voice piece, but power is held amongst or spread out between so many stakeholders, the different levels of government. So school leaders have to navigate all those levels and discern what is best for the students ultimately, but also, again, taking into consideration that the parents and the teachers and the community. So really navigating through lots of different levels and interests. Why do politics surrounding educational policies provide the strongest connection between what school leaders do and their abilities to strategically think about how to handle it all? It's a juggling act. Uh, School leaders have to consider the politics that could come to with every decision that they make. They have to mesh all those local, state, and federal goals to the vision of their school, and to the needs of the students that they serve. So really, again, coming back to that element of doing what's best for the parents, the students, and the teachers. They have to have critique your own personal, professional thoughts about how politics influences decision making and educational leadership decisions. So professionally and personally, I like to stay current on political happenings, what's going on, both federally, state, and local. But I find that I rarely have a political stance that truly impacts my decision making process. I have a core set of values and beliefs, and I try to let those govern um, my actions. Now, that's not to say that it always works so well that way, but that's kind of where I like my stance on that topic. So obviously, I adjust where needed, and I think that it's important to respect individual opinions and not taking things personally when you don't agree with somebody. Um, it's good to hear other people's viewpoints and explanations. It could help solidify either your own viewpoints or opinions, or possibly if you're, on the fence about something, sway you one way or the other. I hope to impress that on my students. I want them to develop opinions and understand how to respect and respectfully disagree with somebody else if they don't agree on a topic. What do you propose will help you improve or enhance your current educational leadership decisions? Um, Diving or deeper into political issues to gain that understanding, and as well as the ramifications of those issues, both good and bad. Staying positive, helping promote the vision of the school and the goals of the school leaders. No, there's no point in working against something if it's the right thing to do. So supporting that, and then continuing to serve on committees and being involved. It's hard to be upset with something if you never voiced your opinions or your thoughts on the matter. So being involved, I think, is important. Thank you for watching my introduction video. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend.